Welcome back to Bayou Time. I'm Jacob DeGate, discussing things with Chris Pulaski, the Director of Planning and Zoning at Terrebonne Parish. Just before the break, I had mentioned I guess the one, if you want to look at the bright side of things, I guess you do have some money coming in from devastating devastating hurricanes, and you have the federal money, but with that becomes an opportunity to do something better. And I know downtown is one area that's always near and dear to your heart, and something that you're looking. I know that, and a lot of people in this area are hoping that can be really revitalized. Is there some new things that you're working on regards to that?
Yes, we just kicked off our Main Street Corridor Master Plan effort last week. A number of us from the planning department, from the parish, walked the core of downtown with our consultant team and with a few of the key stakeholders for downtown, just to make sure that our consultants were familiar with the areas that we knew were kind of key nodes and key locations that we wanted to highlight. But in those discussions, and that's going to be eventually going into our master plan effort that the public will, of course, be a part of, and we'll be having a series of public meetings for downtown, but also picking up where we left off with our parish-wide recovery planning meetings. But residential housing has by far been the biggest topic in all of those recovery planning meetings. I don't care where you go. But for downtown, we realized that in order to have a healthy, vibrant downtown, and plenty of case studies have shown this, is you've got to have full-time residents. I mean, there's nothing that makes a place more safe than having people around it. Sure. Now, we're not, New York, so we're not going to have 24 hours activity going on. But having people living downtown is really what makes or breaks a downtown. So after 5 o'clock, it doesn't become a ghost town. After 5 o'clock, then a whole new group of people are out in the shops, out in the restaurants, that kind of thing, because the folks who may have worked downtown, they've gone back home, but then you've got this group of people that doesn't leave, right? But we need to have mixed use, developments that have a mix of uses, commercial, residential. And in the residential, we're looking for a mix of residential types. We're talking about apartments or condominiums, but we're also talking about varying levels of affordability. We want to make sure we know we have a housing shortage already of affordable housing, especially affordable housing for our elderly. So we want to take care of that. But at the same time, we want to have something a downtown that thrives and attracts a variety of people, so that it just becomes a good, exciting, and place for businesses to thrive and people to have a good time. You look at the Academy Place apartments behind St. Francis, behind the CYO lot. That's a great example. The Barataria apartments, another good example. And having those types of developments downtown are good, especially for elderly or those who have mobility issues, because so much is already here. You've got the hospital, you've got the doctors primarily are close by, sure, right? You've got drugstores, and then, I'd love to see a grocery store downtown, but gosh, I mean, now with delivery and things like that, I mean, you can have groceries brought to you. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out downtown. Short-term rental is another big discussion that's come up. Now, we're not like you see on the New Orleans news, because I think because of events like Jazz Fest and, sure, stuff, it's become a major issue for them. But we are seeing an increased level of interest in short-term rentals, even in Homa. I mean, with events like the Rougarou Fest and all the things that we have happening downtown. The Le Petit's about to reopen. So, I mean, wouldn't it be great if you could just stay a night or two downtown and not have to go anywhere?
Sure. And another area that seems to be thriving and that I've noticed more and more interest in is ecotourism, environmental structures, particularly people coming from far away, not, not even just in the United States, from coming different countries. It's
Yes.
interesting to see.
Recreational fishing has always led the way in that regard to bringing in tourism and ecotourism. But we also see people coming in for plantation tours, tree tours. We have a notable tree tour that you can get on our website. There's QR codes show you where to go. So there's a lot of opportunities for tourism, and Sandra Corbett and her group at Explore Homa are doing a great job.
All right, we got about a minute left, but one question I wanted to hurry up and ask you about. I know it's been a challenge for, after the storm, you had so much devastation, but I guess there becomes a point as to how long that devastation can last, and when does it cross the line into blighted, property. How has your office and the parish been able to address that?
Well, that's something that every community is challenged with. And in Terrebonne, I mean, we were fortunate. We started to see an increase in the number of calls that were coming in about blighted property. This is before the storm. This is right about the time of COVID. So we are actually able to double the size of our nuisance abatement division this year. Now, we had already put that in play, and then the storm came. So it was serendipitous that we had a larger group of people to address the situation. We're still getting through the backlog of condemnations before COVID, but now we're just starting to move into the storm damage, and we'll keep going.
All right. Well, thanks, Chris, for joining us. We appreciate the updates.
Sure.
Stay tuned for more right here on HTV.